Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, SPC205 public speaking, whatever time you're consuming this little artifact of academic media. I am Victor McInnes. I will be I'm trying to center myself here because I've got all this stuff on my screen. I'm trying to make everything work so that you guys can see me. Yeah, okay, let's just leave it as it is. Great way to start out. Okay, hey, again, I'm Victor McInnes. I'm going to be your instructor for this semester in public speaking. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of things shifting around. I know, we all in the summer went on and thought COVID was a thing of the past. Wow, what a surprise. So what we're going to do today in this video is I'm just going to give you a quick run through of who I am, what the course is going to be like, what the expectations of you are going to be, and then we're going to sort of set up our first set of assignments that you're going to need to complete here in the first week of class. Okay, let me just give you a little rundown about me. This is just something that I use to sort of give me a visual roadmap. I'm going to move this over because apparently I cut off a piece of the slide. My OCD was kicking in. Okay, I was originally born and raised in the lovely state of Alabama, 2 over from here if you look at it on the map. I was born and raised in a little town called Homewood, Alabama, which used to be just south of Birmingham. Now it's been swallowed by the city. I went to Auburn University where I got my bachelor's degree in communications with minors in political science and history. I had worked as a radio disc jockey through college, and not wanting to take a minimum wage job with my liberal arts degree and my 2.68 grade point average, I enlisted in the United States Army. I spent 6 years in Army intelligence. I got out as a sergeant. I went back to Auburn University to graduate school where I got a master's degree in speech communications and international relations. I then went to work for the National Security Agency. You can read about it in Wikipedia. Feel free to Google it. I worked there for 22 years. I then went to work for United States Central Command, which is the military command that runs military operations in the Middle East, in Central Asia. I then retired from the federal after 30 years of federal service. I retired. I went over to the Army Cyber School over at Fort Gordon and became an instructor there as a contractor. Did that for a couple of years. Then I came to work here at Aiken Technical College. During that time, I was stationed in California for about 18 months. I was in Maryland for about 10 years. We were in Texas for about 3 years. We were in Florida for 9 years, but we also spent 5 years in the United Kingdom. I did a deployment to Baghdad, Iraq back in 2004. I did 2 deployments to Afghanistan in 2008 and 2014-15. I also got to spend time in Qatar and Bahrain. I have been teaching public speaking now for a lot longer than I care to admit. I won't give it it's been 36 years, okay? I started out teaching public speaking at Auburn University. I taught public speaking at the University of Maryland. I've also taught it at the in-house school at the National Security Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency. I taught it at Central Command. I taught it at the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and School, and along with a bunch of other courses. And then I also taught it at the Army Cyber School. Okay? So I have been teaching public speaking since probably before almost all of you were born. So when I tell you to do something, it's not because I'm just making this stuff up. There's scientific and practical experience behind it that make all of these things I'm going to tell you worthwhile. Okay, here's my contact information. Now you're going to find all of this in the syllabus and the syllabus addendum, which is going to be posted in, my Band-Aid's beginning to mess up here a little bit. Sunscreen, folks, wear sunscreen. Okay, here's all my contact information. I can meet with you on campus most days, 5 days a week, but you've got to set up that appointment early. You have to let me know because we don't meet in my office. My office here does not allow us to social distance. We will be meeting in a classroom, but I have to be able to schedule that. So please, if you want to come meet with me face-to-face, let me know. We can meet at any time via Zoom. I can do that anytime you want to. You can feel free to email me at any time. Just to let you know, formal communication for the class will be handled through Blackboard announcements. And it is your responsibility to go into Blackboard and check those announcements fairly regularly. I have had students in the past go, the Blackboard announcements were going to my junk folder. That's not anything I can have any control over. Okay? So you need to be, if you're not seeing announcements from me, if you go 2 to 3 days without seeing an announcement from me, I would go in and check Blackboard. In fact, I would make checking Blackboard a habit that you do every day. Here's our goals. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because it's pretty straightforward. You should have seen all of those, the first two at least, the Aiken Tech mission and the course description. I'm going to skip down to my goals here. My goal is to assist you in becoming confident and effective public communicators in order to enhance your personal and professional lives and improve your skills as critical consumers of public communications. There's two parts there. First of all, make you a confident and effective public communicator in order to enhance your personal and professional lives. That's number one. Simple fact, and I can point to articles for you in Forbes and Bloomberg and all over the place. If you are a better public communicator, you will make more money. It's just that simple, okay? You'll make more money. Bosses pay people who can publicly communicate more money because you can do more things for them. And it's been that way for a long time. There's a lot of articles out there in other magazines, newspapers, where a lot of technical industry managers are saying, hey, listen, we've closed that hard skill gap. We've got mathematicians, we've got engineers, we've got scientists, we've got all that. We've closed that gap. We're missing the soft skills like effective writing, effective public speaking, things like that. So that's now a major criteria. And one of the things we're going to talk about is, a job interview is a public speech. It's a public speaking event, okay? And this will help you get, you'll be able to apply what we do in this class to job interviews. Okay. Second thing is a critical consumer of public communications. We had a presidential election last year. The level of public discourse in that campaign was atrocious. People on both sides saying things that just flat out, flagrantly, and obviously on their face were not true, and nobody seemed to question it. Okay. I'm hoping that we can improve that. All right, and you guys will be the start. All right, we do have a textbook, okay? Do not be that person at the end of the semester that sends me the email, as someone does every semester, and say, you mentioned the textbook in the final review. We don't have a textbook. We do have a textbook. You will find the URL in the syllabus. The syllabus is on the Blackboard page in two places. It's in the course documents and it's in the course info. You will see when you look at the syllabus addendum, there are assigned readings. I am one of those guys excuse me, that at the end of the semester when I go to write the final exam, I will go back and pull stuff out of the textbook for the final that I have not covered in lectures. I like doing that. Okay, so find the textbook online, keep up with your readings. One of the other things you're going to find when you look at the syllabus addendum is we're very heavily front-loaded because I don't like, I throw you into the deep end of the pool, so to speak, and we'll talk about some of the structure on how I do that. But you're going to be challenged with speeches fairly early on. And I need to get all that lecture out of the way so you have the technical ability to do a good speech, okay? So we're fairly heavily front-loaded into the early part of the semester with lectures and readings. And then in the second half of the semester, there's a lot of focus on speeches, okay? All right, speaking of speaking events, you're going to be giving 5 formal speeches. You're going to get an assignment today for an introductory speech. I do not consider that a formal speech because there's not a real requirement for it. It's just answer these 5 questions. It gives you some practice posting on YouTube. There are 5 formal speeches. The 2-minute speech where you talk for whatever you want to for 2 minutes, as long as it's appropriate for class, and we'll get to that in a second. There'll be a ceremonial speech where you'll introduce someone to a group. It's a practice and allows you to get more practice. There's an informative speech where you just tell us something. You inform us on a topic. There's a problem solution speech where you're going to tell us about a problem and then give us a solution. And then there is a persuasive speech. Now, a lot of people, when they see this slide, begin to freak out because I don't know how to do it. We're going to cover all of it before you get to it. And the grades are structured to where the more practice you get, the more points you can earn. It's that simple, okay? But this is a public speaking class. Failure to participate in 2 of these events will result in you being withdrawn from the class. I cannot meet the academic standards of a public speaking class if you're not doing the public speeches. I can't make it any more simple, okay? If you miss 2 of those speeches, you will be withdrawn from the class. And that includes if you post a video that I can't see, that's missing the speech. Okay? I hate, and this is the part of the class where one of my former students referred to it. Man, that first day you gave a real a-hole speech. This is my a-hole speech. Okay? Because I have to make sure you guys understand that Aiken Tech requires me to do these things, and if you don't do them, I have to withdraw you from the class. Okay, discussion boards. You will, any week you are not doing a speech, you will be doing a discussion board. In order to complete the discussion board, you're going to watch a speech online. I'll post the link. When you're done watching, I would suggest watch the speech, watch it a second time and take notes. Watch it a third time, fill out your notes. These speeches, I think the longest one is 20 minutes. Okay? Then you're going to write 2 to 3 full paragraphs on your impressions of the speech. The language they used, how they delivered the speech, how did the audience react? I mean, anything you want to talk about as your skill sets improve, you'll have more things to talk about. But whatever you want to talk about, you can talk about it for 2 to 3 full paragraphs. After that, you will go back, and this will be done on Blackboard discussion boards. After that, I got a tickle in my throat. It's not COVID, but it is a tickle. After that, you will go in and interact with 2 other students, okay? And with 1 to 2 full paragraphs, you will engage them on what they said. Hey, I agree with what you said. Keep it professional. Keep it civil. Hey, I agree with what you said. I thought this was a good speech. I really like the way you bring out. And then you need to show me that you've interacted and read, okay? I have had students in the past try to cut and paste the same response to multiple. Hey, I agree with you. This was a great speech. That doesn't show me anything about how you interacted, that you even read the original posting. Okay? Your original posting, 2 to 3 paragraphs, will be worth 10 points. Your 2 follow-on comments will be worth 5 points each. Discussion boards will be worth a total of 20 points per week that we have one. Okay? No late postings will be graded, and there will be a deadline posted with every one. Okay? All right? If you post something late, you're still going to be considered absent. All right? The question that comes up all the time is, well, what do you consider to be a paragraph? The Writing Center at UNC Chapel Hill has given, I stole this from them with credit, so it's not plagiarism, said that many students define paragraphs in terms of length. A paragraph is a group of at least 5 sentences, a paragraph is half a page, etc. In reality, though, the unity and coherence of ideas among sentences is what constitutes a paragraph. A paragraph is defined as a group of sentences that forms a unit. Ultimately, a paragraph is a sentence or group of sentences that support one main idea. Okay? All the time people come in and say, hey, how many? I don't even mention a number at this anymore. Because a couple of years ago, I said, I will not say that a paragraph is insert number sentences long. And a student came back to me and said, well, by saying that, you implied that it could be, and that's how long I was writing it. And you gave me no credit. Okay, because your X number of sentences didn't really say anything. Okay, you said, hey, exclamation point, that was a great posting, period. I agree with you, period. You do really well on these, period. Keep up the good work, period. That doesn't show any interaction with the original post. Okay? As you learned in English 101, a paragraph has an overall thesis and then several supporting sentences. Okay? For your original ideas, for your original posting, I expect a thesis sentence, several supporting ideas, new paragraph, thesis sentence, several supporting ideas. When you follow on comments, thesis sentence about the original post, and then several sentences supporting and agreeing with it. Okay? If you have any questions about that, let me know. Attendance. Failure to post links, and you will be posting links. You will not be posting files. All your speeches are going to be posted onto YouTube. Failure to post links to 2 formal speeches by the posted deadlines will result in the student being withdrawn from the class. Failure to participate in 4 graded events by the posted deadlines. I mean, in other words, 3 discussion boards and 1 graded speech. If you miss those, you will be withdrawn from the class. Okay? Now, Here's the thing that I want you to listen to. Okay? Usually your discussion boards and speeches will be due Monday. If you know for a fact you are not going to be able to make this next Monday's deadline, death in the family, illness, you've got COVID-19, your spouse has got COVID-19, these are all good excuses. Okay? Let me know before that deadline and I will give you an extension. I almost always grant extensions. Every semester I will have some student come to me and say, hey, I didn't get this turned in. Can I turn it in now? Well, the deadline was yesterday, so no, I'm not going to be able to allow you to do that. Here's why I do that. I've got 5 sections this semester. Okay? And if I start granting people just say, yeah, turn it in whenever you get around to it, that's all I'm ever going to be doing. Chasing down people's postings. Okay? So if you have a valid excuse, though, make sure you come into me and say, before the deadline, I can't make it this week. And I will go, great, I understand, and I will give you your new deadline to do it. Okay? But let me say 2 things on that. I will not give you an excuse for the entire semester. I have had people come in saying, I'm working a lot, my family's in crisis, I'm not going to be able to get things done for deadlines this semester. My response to you is going to be, fine, you need to withdraw from the class and retake it at a time when you can focus on the class. Okay? I don't give blanket excuses for an extended period of time. Second thing, poor time management is not going to constitute a valid excuse. If you come into me on Sunday morning and say, I've got to work today and I'm not going to be able to do it by tomorrow morning, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, you should have known your work schedule in advance. There's nothing I can do for you. Okay? I hate to be a jerk like that, but again, one of the things we should be learning in a college environment is time management skills. Okay? If you have any questions about the attendance policy, it is spelled out in the syllabus and the syllabus addendum as well. Please let me know. Here's your grades. You're going to have a quiz this week. We'll talk about that in a second. Your ceremonial speech will be 50 points. You will have 3 outlines, one for your informative, one for your problem solution, and one for your persuasive speech. Those are going to be worth 20 points each. Your informative speech will be your first big speech. It's 75 points. Problem solution is 100. Persuasive is 125. Okay? See, as you get more experience, I make them more valuable point-wise so that you can struggle through your ceremonial speech, even struggle through your informative speech, and still get a good grade out of the class. Okay? Your discussion boards are going to be worth 20 points each. There's probably going to be 10 to 12 of those. It always varies from semester to semester, depending on when we get breaks and anything. If we get a bad snowstorm in November, it happens. I just keep that flexible. Your final exam is going to be administered via Blackboard the last week of class, and it's 150 points. Okay, here's the stuff that I want everyone to listen to really closely. Our inclusivity. The mission of Aiken Tech is to educate all members of the Aiken County community, period. Close quotes in a sentence, no exceptions, all. A-L-L, capital A, capital L, capital L. I will not accept any member of my class being made to feel like they cannot avail themselves of this opportunity based on any of these conditions: race, religion or creed, national origin or ancestry, sexual or gender orientation, age, physical or mental disability, veteran status, genetic information, or citizenship. Period. If you do this, you're subject to being withdrawn from the class. It is your responsibility to determine whether or not, it is your responsibility to know whether or not you're stepping over the line, not mine to correct you afterwards. Okay? Example. Okay, we've locked up. I'm trying to get it going again. It should still be recording. Okay. Example. You guys read a book called Everything They Carried for English. There is language in that is a very bad racial epithet for Vietnamese people. The person said it multiple times, and I had warned them, and they got a 0 for that assignment. I did not remove them from class. I did not think it was done intentionally or with any real, it was just and there was, if it was good for English, why is it not good for SPC205? Well, okay. All right. Another one was a student made a statement that all veterans have PTSD. That is absolutely incorrect. Okay? So please be aware of that and do not step across this line in any of your speeches or any of your discussion board postings. I don't tolerate it. Furthering along that line, I expect the primary goal of this course is to make sure your professional public communicators, a profane or obscene language in any form will not be tolerated. It is your responsibility to know what a profane word is. Violation of this policy will result in an immediate 0 for that event. And yes, I have given people, I had a guy drop the F-bomb in a persuasive speech, got a 0 out of 125. Was a great speech otherwise, got to the last 15 seconds, thought he would make a joke, thought everybody would find it funny, and dropped the F-bomb and he got a 0. Okay? If you do it more than once, you're going to be withdrawn from the class. There is a list. It is my intention to give you as much freedom as possible to select topics for your speeches. There are going to be some restrictions. And it is listed in the syllabus addendum, and it may be updated. But if you use any of these topics in any of your speeches, you will get a 0 for the speech. Okay? And here's the list. Gun control, reproductive rights, or anything associated with it. And one thing that popped up there was reproductive rights. Somebody came in and the phone's ringing. Yeah, I'm just going to hang up on it. I think I hung up. Oh, what a nice picture of mine. Okay. I guess you're going to call back in a minute. Reproductive rights. Let me see if I can. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. Reproductive rights. They wanted to give a speech on teen pregnancies. Sorry. Can't, because their solution to that problem was giving birth control devices in the high schools. I said no. Marital family equality. I had a student give a speech on how the only good families are 2-parent heterosexual families. So I had to throw that one in there. Many of these other ones are just such inflammatory topics. We don't do them in class just because I don't want to start an argument. Immigration. We are a state-sponsored school, so the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says you can't come in and religiously proselytize in any form. Obesity, weight loss, or stress. Some of these are overused topics, like obesity, weight loss, and stress. Any partisan political topics or cancel culture, don't do it. Global climate change, it's been overdone. Vaccinations, clearly, especially now. This has been on my list for years, really now. Texting and driving, animal adoption, those two were just so overused, and they're not done well for the way it's usually used. COVID-19, technology addiction, or anything to do with video games, and police reform or civil unrest. And I may update this. It is your responsibility to know whether or not you're stepping onto an excluded topic. I had a student a couple of semesters ago submit an outline for switching from in-class to, or from online to in-class education. I looked at it. I wasn't really sure what he was talking about. I gave him some feedback on his outline. He got up in the class. He submitted his video. 10 seconds into the video, he goes, since we've all been dealing with COVID-19 and working online, and it was a speech about the decision point about when we switch from online to in-class in response to COVID-19. He got a 0. He appealed it to my department chair. And the department chair said, no, it's pretty clear. You spoke on an excluded topic. Okay? If you have a question as to whether, I'm really, except for these, I'm really open-minded. People come in all the time with questions about, is this an excluded? Usually they're not, but please be aware that there are such things as excluded topics. Okay, please remember, I'll make all reasonable accommodations for a person with a documented disability. If you've gone through Mr. Rich Weldon and gotten a formal statement of accommodation, please scan a copy of that and send it to me immediately. Okay? Students who miss 4 graded assignments will be withdrawn from the course. And again, every semester I wind up withdrawing someone the last week of the class because they don't do their last discussion board. Okay? I don't want to do that, but sometimes it's just thrust upon me. Students who fail to do 2 of the formal speaking events will be withdrawn from the class. Again, we've discussed that already. If you're going to have problems in the class, let me know as soon as possible. I can't help you if I don't know about it. Okay? And people are oftentimes, and I get all this feedback all the time going like, wow, I thought you'd just blow me off. And I really like to work with my students to get things resolved. Okay? All right. Remember, this is a public speaking class, and it's a skill. It's not a gift. Okay? When we go out of town, we board our dogs with a vet over in Martinez, Georgia. And I was picking up my puppies at one point, and the lady's always sitting behind the desk, and we had a couple of minutes, and she looked at me and she went, "Mr. McGinnis, I don't think I've ever asked you, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Well, I teach at Aiken Technical College." And she says, "Well, what do you teach?" And I said, "Public speaking." And she goes, "Well, how do you teach that?" "What do you mean?" "Well, people can either speak well in public or they can't." And I looked at her for a minute and I said, "Well, do you know anybody who's actually been, like a professional level singer?" She goes, "Yeah." And I said, are they born that way? Is that a natural talent? She goes, "No, you have to work very hard." I said, "Public speaking is the same way. It's a skill." And I tell people, yeah, I understand you may have performance apprehension. I may understand you may hate public speaking. And we're going to talk about why you probably hate public speaking. But I oftentimes talk to people who are in nursing programs and say, "When was the last time you actually tried to jab a real live human being to draw blood? How did that go?" And they're like, "It's horrible. My hands were shaking." Okay? And I said, "Well, how is it now? How many times have you done it?" "Oh, a couple of thousand." "How is it now?" "No problem." Public speaking is the same way. It's a skill. It's like welding, drawing blood, taking a blood pressure. It's a skill. And I'm going to make this so simple. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to pass this class. And everyone can pass this class. But there is one thing I will not put up with. And that's you saying, "That's just the way I talk." Okay? When you get your feedback for your speeches, do not come back to me and say, "That's just the way I talk," because it says at the bottom of the slide, this class is called public speaking, not talking in front of people. Okay? So listen to what I tell you. Most of you by the second speech will get it and will start understanding that I am going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get an A in this class. Okay? At least on all the speeches. You do what I tell you, you get 100% on every speech. Okay, now we're going to talk about your first speech. You have to answer 5 questions. You'll you'll make a video, post it to YouTube, and then you're going to take that link and you're going to post it in a discussion board that I'll set up in the next day or 2. You're going to give us your name. You're going to tell us where you're from. You're going to tell us what you do for an occupation. Student, homemaker, all great. Whatever you do to occupy your time. Full-time parent, all good. You're going to tell us why you're taking SPC205. And then you're going to tell us one truly unique thing about yourself. And if you look into that camera and say, "There's nothing unique about me," I'm going to tell you to redo it. Okay? You may use 2 note cards that are no bigger than 4x6. That is going to be the standard for every speech in this class. Do not write your speech out word for word. And I do need you to be aware of the video quality. Now, let's discuss some video issues. First of all, there's framing. I am going to be grading you when we start grading speeches on your nonverbal delivery, which means, as with this young man here, I need to see you from your feet to your head with a little gap on each side. Okay? This is good framing because I can see him from his shoes all the way to the top of his head. This is bad framing because I can see more wall than I can see speaker. Additionally, since most of you are going to be using your phones to do your taping, that's going to make the sound quality really horrible. Not good, bad framing. This is also bad framing. Okay? I can't see what he's doing below the waist. And I have to see that. For this first speech, it's not a big deal. For your 2-minute speech, it's not a big deal. But for your graded speeches, your 4 graded speeches, if I can't see you from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, you will lose points. Okay? This is really bad framing because I can't even see this gentleman's hands. And this is really, really bad framing. I will get people who submit this semester. I always have. The first speech, I always go back to them. We almost always get it sorted out before we start graded speeches. Okay? But remember, bottom of your feet, top of your head. Also, be aware of backlighting. Okay? I need to be able to read your facial expressions and react to your facial expressions. I clearly can't do that with this person. Also, be aware of noise, sound issues. A lot of y'all tape outdoors. I get that. I'm perfectly okay with you standing in your driveway and doing the speech. Okay? But if there's a combine harvesting corn in your backyard, you may want to wait until they're done with that for the day. Okay? One other thing that I want to point out that happened last semester more than it had ever happened before, getting your buddy to hold your camera and it winds up, and if you roam out of frame, you're going to lose the points. So try to set your camera up on something stationary. Okay? YouTube links will be posted in the Blackboard discussion board before the posted deadline. No cuts or edits in the videos. That's not going to be appropriate. I want to see you from start to finish. The point of this is to teach you how to do a one long, at the end will be 4.5 to 6 minutes. If you use any cuts or edits, I'm going to give you a 0 for the speech. Okay? Time of the speech will be based on when the speech begins and ends, not the length of the video. And students will lose points for the speech if they are not properly framed. Okay? Do not attach any files ever. Okay, people write up their discussion boards in a Word file, then they move the Word file into the discussion board. I will not grade that. And if you send something to me as an attached file in email, I do a lot of work from home. I will not open it. Period. Close quotes, end of sentence. I'm sorry. Okay? For your draft outlines, just post the text. For your discussion boards, just post the text. For your speeches, when you start turning those in, for your introductory speech, I just need the link. I don't need an outline. Same for your ceremonial speeches. We'll discuss that later. I just need the link. But for when you get to the formal speeches, and we'll go over that again, your YouTube link and then your outline. Don't attach files. Do not attach files ever. Okay? All right, so first lesson. This will lead into your first discussion board. Everybody should recognize, I hope, the 2 people here. One is a semi-retired comedian named Jon Stewart. The other one is the one of the most powerful politicians in Washington, Senator McConnell. They got into a bit of the word I use goes back to my Army days and my time in the Department of Defense. It would be completely inappropriate. They got into a bit of a squabble over how they were going to fund the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund. Okay, there you see Mr. Stewart with a couple of firefighters. As you guys know, probably the guys who worked at the 9/11 sites wound up with a horrendous rate of respiratory diseases and cancers of the respiratory tract. And the federal government has given them money, but that was about to run out. You're going to see 3 videos that will show you the power of public speaking. An out-of-work, semi-retired comedian, and a full-time, the majority leader of the United States Senate went toe-to-toe, and the only weapons they had was their ability to speak in public. Okay? And you're going to see the 3 videos to show how all of that turned out. Okay? So that's why we do public speaking. It's still important to this day. Okay? This week, on Thursday at 9 o'clock, I will open up a 5-question quiz. It is just to make you look at every answer you need will be either in this video or in the syllabus. Actually, they're in the syllabus. Every question will be answered either in the syllabus or the syllabus addendum. Do you want to look at the syllabus and the syllabus addendum when you're taking the quiz? Fine with me. I don't care. Because at least then you're looking at the syllabus and the syllabus addendum. You'll have 24 hours. There'll be 5 questions. You'll have 30 minutes to complete the quiz, which usually takes about, time-wise, from what I've seen from the Blackboard data, it takes about 15 minutes at the most. Okay, you'll have plenty of time. Okay, I'll put out some more stuff on that in the next day or two. Okay, your first discussion board on Jon Stewart and Senator McConnell will be due on the 23rd of August at 8 a.m. I will post more stuff about that for you. And then your introductory speech will also, the link will be posted in Blackboard discussion by, that should say Monday, 23 August. But again, whenever I post a due date on a discussion board, I always post the deadline in the posting. So that will read Monday, that should read Monday, 23 August. Your introductory speech is due on the 23rd as well. Okay? Is that it? That is it. We are done. Okay. Again, contact me. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on this semester. You're doing something every week for the entire semester. Okay? All right. Syllabus and syllabus addendum. Please read them. Check out the link to your textbook. Then contact me if you have any questions at all about anything, and we'll get it all sorted out. With that, I will sign off for now. Hey, stay safe, and let me know if you have any problems. All right?